Hey guys, I've just been messing around a bit more with Garageband on iPad, and this whole thing I was saying about, you can turn out release quality tracks. So look, here's an old track. I really like this. It's done using that Amory meters sample. It's old now, this, but anyway.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm your host for the evening. Trust me, golden way. Cause since year 11 I was doing it proper. Then I was chatting about leg is copper. I weren't a bad man, I weren't a shorter. Just had best skippy flows in my locker. He will get.
Yeah, that one. So anyway, where are we? Garageband. So I've just been messing around with it. I brought that Amory sample in. It's just the opening lick, and then it's before the singing comes in, then it's chopped up and re-triggered. Look, the drum sounds ain't going to be exactly the same. I'll quickly put this together. Sounds a little more like it's a 606 hat in that one. The kick drum's slightly different, etc. There's a sub bass under it. I'm not quite sure. It's mirroring the kick, but I think it's possibly taken from the loop trigger itself, bottom end of it filtered down. So just the bottom end is a loop. Anyway, I just knocked up this thing. Etc. Okay, so just to roughly show you the process, how I did it, let's close that, because every time I did some merges it creates a copy backup. So where is it? Right, okay, that's what I started with. Right, just mute that, open this one up. I imported that whole Amory bit of audio, the opening break thing done by using that meters loop, right? Yeah, all that. I'm breaking it up so I don't get a copyright claim. Yeah, all that, right? So I got that. Then what I did was, let's mute that, open this one up. But then I just went through the length of that piece of audio to identify which bits of it were being triggered in the Golden Boy track. And I ended up with these bits, and to do that I just sort of went along and found the bit, and then sort of, like, let's say that is this opening bit here. So what I did was just brought this in like that to make it, just zoom in, to make it short like that, and that I think is the opening lick. Yeah, then copied it over so it triggers twice, and then you get, and then went along and found that next bit there where that snare hit is. There's two of those being triggered, like that, which is somewhere further down. I think it's from there. Yeah, that bit. Right, so then just trimmed it. That was roughly, that's the next bit there, roughly. Yeah, but wait, like that, and then copy, paste. So that's that next bit there, etc. Work my way down arranging the slices on the multi-track. That's the good thing about Garageband. It's a traditional multi-track with you can chop up your audio and slice it and move it around and position it, right? So I did all that. And then what I did is that, of course, that then left me with a situation where I had all these 8 slices over 2 bars, making that entire one cycle of that loop. So rather than have to faff around copying and pasting those 8 slices, I bounced that down, merged it using the merge function in Garageband on the iPad to make that into all those 8 slices in that order into a single 2-bar loop of audio that I could just then easily copy and paste across 2 bars. Right, let's close that. Okay, and then that is there it is, bounced, right, down to 2 bars, and then copied over to give me 8 bars of intro. Yeah. Then I worked on the second half, which is just it's different slices being triggered. It's basically nearly always that's the first slice. So that, and that are the first slice. Then that is another slice, and then there's that final ending slice. They're just slightly different parts from that, right? So I just arrange those in the right order. They're triggering on the kicks, right? Then I put the drums in. With that, it's not the right sounds, but right. Then I added the snare from that Amory loop. There are isolated bits of drum fills, so I took a long snare and added that in as a snare. It's the wrong sound, but I thought it might be in there somewhere underlaying under the drums, but you can hear there's a drum machine-y type drum as well. Yeah. And then there's a sub bass working with the kick, and I wondered whether it was the loop, because the loop, this one that's being triggered here, doing that, this one, that's slicing without that snare. I've got the bass rolled off it, but you can hear it still underneath it. But if you look at the EQ for it, I've got the bass turned down, right? So it just, you don't hear the bass so much, right? So I just copied those slices to another track, and on this one I cranked the bass up and rolled the treble right off, because I thought maybe that bass, because I could hear the pitch very subtly of the bass when I'm listening to the original song, the Golden Boy one, and there's a bass mirroring the kick, and it is changing pitch, which seems to match the loop. So I wondered if they'd done a copy of the loop and isolated the bass by filtering out the upper end, and then I got that, which gave me that kind of pitch of the bass, but it's much further down in the mix. But then I mirrored that with an actual bass. It's probably not the right sound, but there's a bass in there. I mean, I've tweaked it since. This is just the second version when I was messing with it. Something like that is the pitch, mirroring the pitch of the sample triggers, like that. So that's the. But then I did it like that, and then I did some more work, just tweaking the drums, and I ended up with that final version. And this one has got a drum machine in, doing an acoustic snare. It's the wrong sound, but that layered with the Amory sample gives me this. Right, and then the drum machine is doing this. That drum machine's got a clap in it, which is on the same 2s and 4s as the 2 snares. Then the bass underneath that. And I'd really subbed that down. I worked on getting it really subby. You're not going to hear this hardly. Yeah. And there's a second bass there. I think I'm using 2 basses layered. Yeah. And then there's that loop, the retriggering, where I'm using just the bass end of it as well. It's the wrong snare sound and everything, but you know, it's the point is, I'm just showing that you can do this kind of track with Garageband on iPad. Ergo, you can turn out release quality tunes in different genres, one of them being grime hip hop, right? It doesn't matter that I haven't got exactly the right drum sounds or exactly the right bass sound, because any beat maker is going to use their own sounds, right? So you would just use your own sounds, but I'm just showing that you can do that type of composition by just simply imitating it fairly closely, just to show you that you can do it, right? And there it is. Yeah, I probably messed up the mix a bit now fiddling with it, but yeah, you get the point. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. There's one. Hope that's interesting. See you for the next one.